Welcome to another episode of Show After RoW, where I basically talk to you about what I kind of like just talk to you about whatever I had to go through and after being at the RoW arena. And today I'm not really proud of this episode. I'm not. This is definitely one of my bigger fails to date. Not nearly as bad as not nearly as bad as the other thing where I thought that I was going to be kicked out of the company forever, but still pretty bad. So to start things off. A long time ago, I had my wrestling shoes stolen. I had my wrestling shoes in my car during a show, and somebody broke into my car a while back. This is actually a much more earlier incident because much earlier, and they stole my wrestling shoes out of my car. Also, my name tag for work. I think I brought this up before. But because of that, I have been sort of skipping away at training wearing non-wrestling shoes, specifically these shoes. Not proud of that. And for the most part, they have been kind of very lenient with me about it, and and obviously the company is getting a lot more exclusive. Things are starting to get a lot more stricter. Things are getting a lot more, the leniency is starting to wear thin because of, obviously, the company is starting to become basically a sister company to WWE now. And, because of that, training has to be more WWE adjacent. And one of the ways to approach that adjacency is I gotta get wrestling shoes. Now, it's not that I don't want to get wrestling shoes. It's just that for a long time I haven't really had money to get them, and because wrestling shoes are expensive. Like let's just go there. But also wrestling shoes are really 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 hard to find. Like I don't want to go to Amazon. Like I've been ultimately sort of challenging myself to not go on Amazon to buy things because I never used Amazon before and I hate Jeff Bezos, right? But like now I'm realizing that like in order for me to chase my dream and show myself that I'm serious about this, I have to compromise what little values that I have and basically just go on Amazon and get the wrestling shoes, because I can't just go to a shoe store and be like, hey, do you guys have wrestling shoes in a size? Oh my God, I can't even read this. In the size 14. So, yeah. So now I have to, go, so it's like now I have to get it online, hope that I can fit them, and kind of work with what I got from that. So yeah, and for a while and fast forward to today, obviously for the third time I've managed to go to training without my shoes. I've getting called out. I got called out on it, and I was told to leave. I'm not even upset that it happened. It's just that I'm not even upset that it happened. I know what I did was wrong, so I'm not mad at anybody for telling me to leave or anything like that. I'm never going to be mad at the chance that I was told to get out, because obviously I would have known. Because the one thing I like about this is that, like, unlike the rest of the instances that have occurred to me, like having to get expelled from something, they actually tell me what I did wrong. They tell me what I did wrong, and that, in my opinion, is a lot more than that could be done for any other place that I'm at. Like a lot of situations, they kind of just sort of make it very clear that they want me to just sort of guess what I did wrong. But for the training facilities, it's basically, this is what you did, don't do it again, or this is what you did, improve on it. You know what I'm saying? So that is kind of like a good thing about that. So, needless to say, for the third time, I did try to go to training with the running shoes instead, and I was just basically told, gotta go home, and that's fair, That's a fair thing for them to say. But like the reason why I kept doing it is because one of the things that that's being pushed kind of heavily over there is if you don't go to training, you're lazy. They don't outright say it, but it's kind of like that's kind of the notion, the implication is that like if you don't come to training, it's because you don't want to come to training, right? And my thing is I want to come to training, so I'm willing to like there's a rule. Well, there's an exception where you can like go to training and just take notes, right? You can go to training with your notebook, take notes, right? That's what you could do. But obviously, even that is kind of like up in the air depending on what the training actually is. So, depending on who it is, you can't even do that, right? And that's understandable. But the goal is that like I do want to come to training. I do want to, do what I need to do in order to stay there. The problem is that like, my drive for me wanting to go to training doesn't beat what I actually have to do to get trained and to stay training over there. Does that make sense? So it's like you're just because you want to go to training doesn't mean that you can just sort of skimp on the rules. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like the whole idea. It's like the whole idea is that I want to show that I'm not lazy. But obviously, it's like in the process of me trying to show that I'm not lazy, I'm doing something, and I'm doing something worse. Does that mean like I'm breaking a rule while trying to make it seem like I'm just that darn headstrong, right? This is definitely one of those forgiveness instead of permission type of ordeals. And for those who aren't familiar with the phrase, it's like better to ask for forgiveness than for permission kind of ordeal. And now I'm realizing that that's not always the case, especially not for me, because I don't want to be on the bad side of the people that are there, even though I am on the bad side of people. Come on. Even though I am on the bad side of at least one of the guys over there, but he doesn't like me, and he's professional enough to critique me based on like what he sees, but he also doesn't like me. I'm not gonna tell you who it is. I'm just gonna leave it there. Like he's professional, but he also doesn't like me. It's a very respectable dislike, which honestly I can respect back. But yeah, that's kind of like the thing. But that is definitely the thing now. And I'm talking about this. I'm talking about my L's ultimately because at some point I am going to become a wrestler. That's happening. Like I went this far. I fought this hard. I'm going to become a wrestler. It's very, 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 I want to believe that it's apparent for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I can do this stuff. It's just simply a matter of me just doing it. And but like I also wanted to be known that the journey was not all good accomplishments and rewards. I also want there to be known that there's a lot of fails that I had to make. Like, I want there to be known that on a journey, which is a long journey, there's going to be moments where the car is going to make some weird noises and you got to go to the shop to get everything looked at. And this is definitely one of those car with the weird noises type moments where I find myself ultimately, now I have to go to Amazon, which I don't want to do. I've never done it before, so now I have to go to Amazon and do all this stuff and get my wrestling shoes and do what I need to do in order to like get that taken care of. Because if I'm serious about this and I want to say that I am, I gotta get those shoes. And so there's that. Another L that I actually want to talk about was, okay, so while as a cameraman, I'm given very strict orders to stay in this one spot. The spot that I'm designated on I call it the splash zone, because if there's a dive that needs to be taken, it's only going to be taken in that area because that area has the most space. That area has like the most space, and so when people want to do a jumping move to the outside, I have to move out the way to let them so that way I don't get hit or whatever. The problem is that like in the process of me trying to stay in the area that I'm designated at, as well as try to get out the way, as you can obviously see, there's a bit of a challenge there. There's a bit of a challenge there, and I'm not, so it's a case of sit down and stand up at the same time kind of ordeal. And in one of the matches, there's going to come a moment where you're going to see a wrestler go for a dive to the outside. I'm in the way, and it's obvious. and I scamper out the way. And you can literally see me, like, it doesn't look like I'm positioning myself or anything. It just looks like I'm just running out of the way so I don't, so I don't interrupt the dive. And also so I don't, it's just, it looks very, 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 it looks a little silly. And if you see the show, you're going to probably see that. I'm not proud of that moment. I'm very ashamed of myself for that moment. And in the process, I want to say since that, I like to think I've done better. But like, it's definitely one of those incidents where I'm just looking back and I'm just like, oh my God. So oh boy, hold on. So that is another fail. That's another fail. But to basically to count it off though, I made a lot of mistakes this past week and in the course of the past few days, and I'm not proud of them. But I like to think that down the line it does get better, and part of me wants to believe that things are going to kind of improve for the better. And I'm trying to just I'm trying to think positively about this here, because the way I see it is it can't get any worse, right? That's the point. The point is it can't get any worse, and that's what I want to believe. But right now it's pretty bad. So here's to hoping to a better, a better tomorrow, a better week next week or something. I'm not sure yet. All I know is that if I can acknowledge the screw ups, I can also acknowledge the good. I did get a chance to go through a cardio session without passing out. I like to think that matters, but I still, I did manage to actually go through a workout session the last time I was over there, and that I think that I have improved on my workout a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I am getting back in shape. I am trying to eat healthier. I am trying to kind of get myself, back in the condition that I used to be in. The problem is that I'm pushing 40. I'm going to be fat. I'm probably going to be fat for the rest of my life. I mean, genetics, dog. My dad was not exactly a little man himself. But I like to think that to compensate, I'm going to be at least physically fit enough to do the things that I need to do. And that is something to look forward to. So I'm going to end this on a positive note. In the process of me trying to get myself, in the process of me not waiting on my shoes, which I gotta order them. I'm going to have to order them. I'm going to get myself back in shape. And that's the goal. I'm going to get myself back in shape. I'm going to order these shoes. This is a bump in the road. This is a funny sound in the car moment. And I'm now at the shop trying to figure out what to do next. So let's go ahead and visit that shop. Love and peace, y'all. See y'all in the ring.